live or joined live. Stand by. Set this puppy up real quick and get this rolling. Chat set up over here so I can see what's going on. All right, there we go. Oops. Let's see. Chat. La Flamme. What's going on? I think I can. I'm trying to be able to see myself in here. Is this not letting me in? Little pig, let me in. Up by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Come on. Trying to get in here. It's Big L! In case I didn't know. Ryan, what up? Derek's Adventures. What's going on? Well, apparently, I cannot get that to join. So, what else? We are going to be joined by another gun tuber tonight. My buddy Silverback from RTT Guns and Gear is going to be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. So we'll go through a few things before then. I'll talk to you guys about, I don't know, whichever. So hopefully you guys have been having a good week. Derek, to answer your question about Asilicon Guns, email me, dude. I don't want to have a huge conversation about what's going on with your gun and this and that. But you can email me at, you can just do airgunsofmichigan@gmail.com. Shoot me an email and we can, let me know what's going on with it in there. And then we'll talk after that. So a good buddy of mine, I've been showing you guys some laser stuff that this guy's been doing, and he did this on the side of one of my Glock slides, which I thought was pretty cool with the people with the Punisher, and on the opposite side it's Moose. So well, that was pretty cool. It's just an extra slide that I had laying around, and he wanted to test out some stuff and see what he could do, and that's what he came up with. So, very cool stuff. Let's see what else is going on, man. We've got tons of new content coming out. Got some new shotguns coming in, as we talked about last week from Black Aces. That's going to be a great series that we do on those. Bringing you guys some of these shotguns that, I don't know. Everybody needs a shotgun. Everybody needs multiple shotguns, to be honest with you. They're just a good time. They're not like, it wouldn't be my go-to choice for home defense or um, you know, taking to the range, but man, they're just a load of fun to shoot. So, and I just thought it was kind of one of those things that you know, might be fun or interesting to do. So, but yeah, so I love playing around with them. I love tinkering around with them. So, it's it's always a good time to, I don't know, get out and blow stuff up with shotguns. I mean, nothing says explosion better than a shotgun shooting whatever target you're shooting at. It's just a little bit different. So, um, like I said, we are going to be joined by Matt from RTT Guns and Gear. If you guys don't follow Matt on YouTube, RTT Guns and Gear, um, everybody calls him Silverback. He's a great dude, full of a ton of knowledge, and just puts out some really informative videos. He just did one recently that him and I had already talked about, and that was on body armor and the fact of whether or not it was NIJ certified and exactly what that means. Um, there's a lot of people out there that buy body armor, and I agree with them. And we had this conversation a while back, and we'll probably get more in depth maybe in this live. But I had told him, I said, basically to become NIJ certified, you have to send your body armor to the NIJ to have it certified, tested, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you produce a million plates or a million different types of body armor and they've only tested one, how does that equate to the one that you're wearing is actually NIJ? So it was a really interesting, deep conversation to have. I do want to show you guys something that I picked up the other day at Wally World. For those of you guys that are into carrying your pistols with you, whether it's, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, whatever. I actually noticed that Wally World sells Safariland. And they had this. This is a really interesting holster as it's multi gun capable. So not only will it hold my Glock 17, my Glock 19, but it also will hold a SIG. It holds there's a list a mile long of guns that this holster will carry from Safariland. And it was just a great little, cheap little, level, I guess 1.5, maybe 2. It does require this little lever being pushed in order to extract the gun from the holster, which puts it basically right where your index finger would come up. Basically, when you come to draw your gun, you'd bump that and your pistol would release. Here we go. And so I thought that was really cool. Something really interesting that Wally World actually sells freaking Safariland. Did you know that? See if he can hear us.
I can hear you.
All right. Did you know that Wally World sells Safariland holsters?
Yes.
I never knew that. I picked this thing up, man. It's like the multi-caliber or multi-gun little thing. It was like $40. I was like, I'll take it. And it works great. I mean, it holds basically every pistol that I own can fit in this thing. I thought that was pretty cool. Yep. So, how was your day, brother? Do you have a good one?
It was all right. Yours?
It was uneventful.
Sometimes that's good.
Yeah, it was actually really quite nice. I did a whole lot of nothing. Planned a few videos, things like that, but other than that, it was very uneventful, and I enjoyed that. So, for those of you guys that don't know, this is Silverback from RTT Guns and Gear. He is one of those channels that I followed for, I don't know, I've probably been watching your videos for maybe 4 years, something like
Really?
that. 3, 4 years. Yeah. I mean, just not really like all the time, but just you always piqued my interest in some of the cool stuff, that was, you know, I don't know, stuff that I was looking up, right? So I wasn't always subscribed for that long. I've probably only been subscribed for maybe the last year and a half, somewhere around there. But I would always look something up, and when I did, I would see your channel. And then, but at the time, I was doing more air gun stuff, so it wasn't really like at the top of my priority list. And then when I started doing more with firearms, I started following a lot more firearm channels and things like that. So it
Yeah.
worked out really good. But um, a wealth of knowledge. The guy's super on top of. I mean, like I said, I was talking a minute ago about your Nij video that you just put out, and and how you and I had that conversation, and I'd never really thought about that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, right, how can you say that your plate's Nij certified when it's never been shot? Not that I want it to be shot, and then you give it to me, but either way, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if you need a plate and you're being shot at and you take a round, your chances are you're in over your head. I mean, in my opinion, I think about that and I think, man, it's one thing to talk about defending yourself. It's another thing to be being shot at. And I've never experienced that. And so, you know,
It's it's something else. I've
yeah,
I've I've had a couple.
I can't even fathom. I don't want to imagine. I just want to be the guy way, way in the back. That's why I shoot so much rifle and competition stuff. Yeah, I don't want people up in my face shooting at me. I want to shoot people from a very long distance if that's in fact what I ever have to do. And I've got the capability, right? I've got the equipment, I've got the time behind the trigger. That I'm better off as and not only that, I'm big and fat, and I can't run that far anyway. So, it's one thing to shoot and move and talk and this and that, but it's another thing when you've got all your gear on and everything else. I'd rather just have a bag with me full of ammo and my rifle
Yeah.
and call it good. Yeah. So that'd make for a really good video someday.
What, getting shot at?
No, like what kind of soldier are you? Are you the soldier that wants to be on the front end, or are you the guy that wants to be in the back? Just taking
Well,
them out one at a time.
I'll tell you what. I got uh, when I got discharged, I got a medical discharge, and had I known then that I could have reenlisted into the Army, um, I would have, but I probably wouldn't be sitting here today because I would have gone right into the SF program,
Right.
and yeah, so there's your answer. I'm that right up front guy.
Right. And here's the funny thing. I am too, but I know what my physical limitations are. You know what I
Today,
mean? So I have to think from an aspect of could I? Yes. Would I would I back down from a potential threat for that reason? No. But knowing the fact that I'm limited physically just because I've let myself get to that point, I would rather say I got your six. And if I'll make sure that I'll do the best that I can to eliminate a potential threat that you may be coming into. So I'm very good at long distance shooting. I'm it's just what I do. I love bench shooting. I love prone shooting. I love PRS. I
I
just
got I got a new scope. You probably like them.
ooh, what'd you get?
Arkin 5 to 25.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I've had them all. They send them to me. The only one I haven't gotten yet, and I need to reach out to them too, is the LPVO. So, um, I run most of the optics that I run for my long range shooting. I run tracked. Um, I run zero tech. Um, I don't have a Bushnell yet, which I've always thought maybe I should get like like a nice Bushnell or something. And I don't have a Leopold either. And I'd really like to get a nice Leopold someday. But my Tract, honestly, if you've ever looked through a Tract optic, um, it's pretty it's pretty awesome. Uh, it's Tract only sells through themselves, so there's no middleman. So they eliminate all of the Well, shoot. What happens if I drop off and join back in?
Okay, give it a try.
Oh, it says if I drop it, you'll be gone too. What the heck? Oh, he
Okay,
says
somebody out there now says it's better.
yeah. Is it better?
Hold on, I'm gonna check.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Big Al says it's fixed. Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that was weird. Like, I don't know why it would have done that. I've got a really good signal through my Wi-Fi. All right, cool. We're back. Sorry about that, guys. Dude, I'm working on it, you guys. Man, I tried to set it up on my laptop, and I usually use OBS software to do this, and it just, I don't know, man. It's giving me all kinds of errors and stuff, and I used to run it through my GoPro, and now it won't run through my GoPro. So that I thought about setting it up through my Lumix, and that thing's giving me a headache. And
Try StreamYard.
yeah, I've got StreamYard. I just haven't put it on my laptop again to do it, but I might use StreamYard next, and then because I've got a really nice.
You just do it right online. You don't have to download anything.
No, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've used it before. Yeah, I just didn't open it up on my laptop, and I'm usually used to using OBS, but um,
You like
next
doing shit
one,
the hard way.
I'm an IT guy, so I always do things the most complicated possible IT way I can.
Like I avoid running through things like OBS like the plague. Because here's the key, here's this thing, here's that thing, put this in. Yeah, I avoid you. I have OBS and I use it to screen record and stuff like that. But yeah, for live stream, I avoid OBS and those sort of services like I owe them money.
When they call, you're like, "Hey, don't call this number anymore. Send me a mail.
Yeah.
Send it in the mail." Yeah, I know. I'll get this fixed. I just, I used to do lives all the time, and some of the guys that are in here have watched my lives for years. I used to do lives for cigars. I used to do it for the air gun stuff, like a couple times a week, and then after I moved, I was just like, I don't feel like doing it anymore, and so I was like, whatever. And anyway, so one thing to another, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. But I will get StreamYard going. I agree. On another note, thank you very much for your advice. Our good friends over at Phoenix have sent me the GL19R weapon light, which I think is really a nice little light. Um, for those of you guys that have never seen one, there you go. Really cool little design on the buttons and basically how to get it to strobe and all that. It's really interesting, to be honest with you. I dig it. I do. It's super bright. I love the little quick disconnect on the side. I think it works like $1,000,000. It definitely gets hot. I mean, it is definitely a very hot light. Um, but for what it is and the fact they sent it to me, I'm going to mount it on one of my Glock 19Xs. So, of course, the unfortunate part is what holster do you order when you run something like this?
Yeah, when I reviewed that light, that's what I said. There may be holsters for it now. I reviewed that light like a year or two ago.
Yeah,
And that was the thing. It was like for a nightstand light that you're not putting in a holster or carrying.
right.
Sure. I didn't have anything bad to say about it really, other than there's just no holster options. So it's not.
Right.
I mean, and to me, these one size fits all leather nylon type holsters, that's not an option. That's not an option
No,
for carrying. And anybody out there listening, that's not an option for carrying. If you have
no.
one of those piece of shit gun socks, go throw it away where it belongs and get a good Kydex or Boltron holster.
Yep. Yep. Now I will say this. I'm going to move my camera back for a second here so I can pick up my armor. This is my body armor, and I actually have one of those, like holsters here on the side. But I do that for two reasons. One, it's up out of the way on my plate carrier. And if I am going to be engaged in something that requires, um, you know, firepower, things like that, I would also wear my gun belt, right? So this would actually be around my waist as well. And it's got my Glock holster on it. So the reason that I put that holster onto that is because it does actually hold my Glock 19X/22 hybrid 40 cal. So it's almost as like a backup, I guess you could say. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of what popped into my head one day. And I was like, you know what? For something to carry in my car, just to have with me, something extra, So even if I was to carry like my Glock 17 or my Glock 19X, it still fits in there too. So it just makes it a little more universal. It does have a strap that comes over the back that locks the pistol in, and it's just kind of one of those things, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But it's what I came up with. So my gun belt though, that's my go-to. I mean, once again, this goes back to the what kind of soldier are you? In my vehicle, I carry a 300 blackout. I carry a pistol. And then I have a chest rig that rides in my car nonstop. And it never leaves the car. And it's got magazines for my Glock and it's got magazines for my 300 blackout. And that's just what I roll with. I mean, I don't really always carry my plates with me because when am I ever really going to have time? I mean, if I feel like if I'm ever in a situation that I need to go grab my long gun or my pistol, I don't have that much time to get suited up. It's not like I'm not a cop who's showing up to a bad situation. I'm somebody who's got to react quickly. And once again, this leads back to my physical stature. I'm better off just give me my rifle and let me do my thing. So I don't know. Once again, from a civilian standpoint, no military training, none whatsoever. So
Yeah,
what do you care?
huh?
What do you carry? How do you carry like on your plate? Do you carry your plates in your car?
Well, I have 5 different plate carriers set up um, for various reasons.
Yeah,
Um, one set stays in the car. One set stays in the truck. It's got level 4 plates in it.
yeah,
It's got its mags in it. It's got medical on it. Um, but and it's got comms on it. But yeah, so I carry that in the truck. I usually have a helmet in the truck, but not right now. And I usually have, so I'm always carrying.
yeah,
So even if I got to throw the carrier on, I still have my inside the waistband holster on.
yeah,
You know, um, but yeah, no, I keep a full plate carrier in my truck.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So it's kind of crazy because this is actually the plate that I'm gonna start carrying in my car. This is my plate carrier for my car, but it's modular to my chest rig. So it's an Ace Tac, right? So this is from Ace Tac. This is the rig that I'll carry in my car once I get plates for it. And, my chest rig will actually snap into here so I can, this is simple to chuck in your car. Um, but ironically, man, a buddy of mine and I were talking the other day. And when I got this plate carrier, um, it came with extra AR mags or AR mag pouches. So I actually put them on the back of my plate to be able to mount extra magazines like on my back in case somebody's behind me, right? Like me and all my friends up here, man, we all shoot 300 blackout. Every one of us. We just it's kind of one of them things like, well, what are we all going to shoot? Because I don't want to be, let's just say that shit does hit the fan, me and all my friends posse up. I don't want one guy shooting 5.56, one guy shooting 2.23, and that's not a wild, and one guy shooting 300 blackout. So we tried to make a decision together to say, hey, if we're all carrying 300 blackout, or it could have been 5.56, we all just decided on 300 blackout, that we should all be having that same ammo. The same thing with our handguns, right? We all decided to carry Glocks so that my magazines are just as compatible with theirs as theirs are with mine, as opposed to one guy carrying a SIG, one guy carrying a Kimber, and one guy carrying a Glock. I mean, how do you interchange ammo if we had to defend our town or our neighborhood or whatever it is? So it was kind of an interesting idea. I haven't really done anything with it yet, but I figured I've already got my chest rig that already holds all my personal magazines, and if I needed them, it's not that big of a deal to reach back and pull one off my back, as opposed to a bunch of them on the front of me.
I only
Once
carry
again,
I carry three, but I carry three on my carrier. But there's a lot of people that carry a lot more.
yeah, I carry four. So I have three across the front, and then in my little dangler, I put one extra mag.
Yeah,
So,
my
and
dangler has.
that's usually the one that'll go into the rifle. Because here in the state of Michigan, we can't ride around with an AR that's got a magazine in it. Some states you can, but in Michigan you can't. Your gun has to be unloaded and separate from the ammo. So technically, I'm not even supposed to have ammo in the same case. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, I just carry everything in my chest rig, so that
Aren't
way
you
it
guys
is
constitutional carry?
no,
You're not one of the states that went constitutional carry.
no, not with our fucking witch of
Not
a
with-
governor.
Yeah, not with your governor, not with Detroit. I guess not.
No. Our governor is the epitome of piece of crap. So we've had some decent governors. I mean, we've flip flopped between red and blue a lot throughout history. But the last two terms, it's been blue, and it sucks because the majority of the state, like, I mean, if you drove around, and here's the funny thing. Even the people that I know that live in the high populated cities like Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Flint, Saginaw, Bay City, um, regardless of their color, because they're not all white, none of them support Democrats. Not one. Not one. So, it leads to believe that once again, tell me that election fraud doesn't really happen. Because the majority of people, even in the cities, don't vote Democrat. But for some unknown reason, it is what it is, man. I mean, how do once again, it goes down to that whole thing of if the government looks into something that we're doing, it's an investigation. But if we look into what the government's doing, we're crazy and we need to be looked at. So, kind of is what it is. Look at that
So
big old chest rig.
here's one of my carriers.
There you go.
So it's heavy already with one arm, but so I have level 4 ceramic in it.
Yep.
Well, I just go to the back real quick. Hydration, antenna rerouting kit for my comms.
Yep.
Plates, push to talk, 3 mags, some chem lights, a knife. All of my, I have like a pair of rubber gloves in here, a pocket knife, some electrical tape, marker, extra battery for my radio, and map reading stuff. And then in here is all medical.
Yep.
And then tourniquet and radio and tourniquet.
Yep. Yeah, actually, my
That's
medical
that
isn't
one.
actually on mine right now. I took it off to re-put my plates in it. So
This is my more, it's not a low profile carrier, but it's the one I wear the most. And this is my Agilite carrier.
yeah.
And it's just 3 mags and level 4 plates. That's
Yep.
it. I will be
And you
getting the pack, the back panel for it pretty soon. They're on sale for like 170 or something right now. But
Now you don't run pistol mags in yours?
not on my carrier, I don't.
No.
No, I run 2 pistol mags on my belt. Well, so this, yes, I do. Sort of. I mean, I do in the sense that they're just not in it right now. But I'll run a pistol mag there,
Yeah.
and then in this side I run a multi-tool instead of a
Yeah.
pistol mag.
Yeah. Yeah. So irony. So all right, give me a second. My car is right on the other side of this door. I'm gonna go grab my chest rig because I want to show you that. So keep these guys entertained for a second, Silverback, and I'll be right back. So I want to my chest rig is set up like that.
Yeah. So let's look. La Flama Blanca. Unions vote Democrat. That's the problem in Michigan. Yeah. Absolutely. Unions are a big problem, and I'm originally from Ohio, guys. So I've only been out in Arizona for going on 9 years. Spent the rest of my time only about an hour south of Michigan, in Ohio. And yeah, you guys have massive union problems up there.
Huge
Massive union
union
problems.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So this is my chest rig. This is what never leaves my car. So, but I'm in the same boat because this is my multi-tool, 2 pistol mags, three mags here. Down here is where I keep my extra mag, as I was talking about. So I keep my other magazine to go in there, and then I strapped and then Cat 7. So, but I actually strap my knife underneath my admin pouch. So it keeps it out of the way. It's not up and down. You know, I used to have it straight up and down, but then I always got worried, like, what happens if I'm pulling this thing out and I accidentally nick myself? So I just put it on the side, makes it easy to grab that big old K-bar and, do whatever I got to do. Not that I'm, like super talented with a fighting knife, but I guess it's better to have one than not have one. but yeah, so and then up in the admin pouch, I keep extra flashlight, batteries, a pocket knife like you were talking about, pens, markers, my compass, some electrical tape because you never know when you need electrical tape, and then my medical is really, and this is just my tourniquet because I wear medical on my belt. And I also have a trauma kit that travels around with me in my car everywhere I go. So if I was to ever exit my car, I'm going to throw that little, it's a MyMedic Recon. So it's got every piece of trauma, chest seals. I mean,
Oh,
it's a huge medical kit.
I'm very familiar with it. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then of course, pistol mags, man. I mean, so, and like I said, this is my main that attaches to this. So I just need to get plates for this, and then I'll start carrying this in my car. That one, my big one, stays in the house because it's more for if I need to exit the house, then I have time here to prepare myself before I walk out. But, and then my flashlight pouch, I keep my flashlight up here. I carry a couple of pen lights in here as well. Just, Wally World pen lights. Man, they're like $1.50 at
Oh,
Wally World, you
yeah.
know.
I have a headlamp in there too. I forgot.
Oh yeah, yeah. My
Yeah.
actually my headlamp's over there because I don't know if you saw my YouTube video where I shot the video of my headlamp that turns itself on, and it only does it in my house. So, long story about ghosts in my house. Well, at least that's what people say. Everybody in town asks me all the time, "So you ever see ghosts?" I'm like, no. I mean, I don't really believe in ghosts, but I do believe in devil or demons and angels. So, do I have demons running around my house? Maybe, but yeah, my flashlight will turn itself on, or my headlamp. So, and I do normally I carry extra batteries for that as well in there. It's actually a rechargeable. Oh, and that's another thing I carry in there is a USB-C charger and a battery pack. Because most of the stuff that I carry, my flashlights, my headlamp, they can all be recharged with USB-C. And even most of my pistol lights can be charged with USB-C as well. So, yeah, a little extra weight, but it's worth it when you get out there and you go, my battery's dead. Now what do I do? Plug it in.
Well, at least no light.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and
And
yeah, because actually, ironically, it was, and that's actually an Olight pouch for right here. But when Phoenix hooked me up, I actually reached out and I said, "Hey, do you guys have an EDC?" And I said, "Mix, I'd really love to be able to have one of your EDCs instead of this Olight junk that I have." And they said, "Oh." Um, well, we're going to start you with the pistol light, but here's a coupon code for 60% off. I was like, done. Like, thank you. Like, I'll take that all day long. Absolutely, I will. So I ordered one of their EDC lights. So
yeah, they sent me a rifle light not long ago. So they've sent me a few things. I've had a few things from Phoenix. That pistol light being one of them. But they sent me a rifle light, and I used it a bunch. I was like, guys, I'm not going to review this. I said it's an okay light. I said, but you're asking too much money for it. It's not doesn't give the output. Doesn't get anywhere near the output that you guys claim.
right,
Um, it's just the button. It has no ability to uh, cycle out things. So like you got like high then strobe,
right,
and it's like no, strobe is for raves and parties,
sure,
not for weapon lights.
yep,
Um, it's it just I said I like your lights. I said, but for whatever reason, these Chinese companies, which Phoenix is,
yep,
you
they are,
know, these
yep,
Chinese companies from everywhere from Phoenix to Olight to some of these other ones that are on Amazon and stuff like that. Whatever reason, you guys can't figure out rifle lights.
right.
You
Nope,
know,
I agree. Yep. I've got a bunch from like Fayacci. They've sent them to me over the years. Do they function? Yes. Are some of them better than others? Absolutely. I've actually got one on this 300 blackout up here behind me, the camo one on the wall up there, and it functions well. It does. I've had it for a long time. What's up, Charles? I've had it for a long time. It's never failed me. But is it a Streamlight? No. And I would agree when you said the price point about Phoenix, right? Like, look, I'm not saying anything bad about them. This is the
No,
first one I've ever had in my hand. I've heard good things, but I agree. When I look at their rifle light price, and then I look at what I can go buy a Streamlight for, why would I not buy a Streamlight? I
yeah,
mean, me
it's
personally,
and that goes into like a lot of the different lights. Like with the fact that Streamlight exists, if you don't want to spend the money on Cloud or Surefire,
right?
right, or Arisaka, there is no other budget option.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
I mean,
You
there's
know,
other budget options, but like,
but not for the
why you would,
quality.
yeah, not for the cost and quality comparison. Like, why anybody would choose anything other than Streamlight? If you can afford a $60 Olight, you can wait 2 paychecks and afford a Streamlight and have
Right.
a far better light in every way.
Right. Absolutely. I
You know,
100% agree. You know, I mean, I've got my main rifle, right? So I mean, I've got a lot of ARs, but I only really take um I really only focus on my main rifle. Right. It's the one, I mean, they all work, they all function. You know, most of them have drop-in triggers of one sort or another. But and this goes into the build series that I'm doing, right? So I've got my main 300 blackout right now is a Palmetto State Armory upper that they sent me, and it is a Anderson lower. It's got a velocity trigger in it. It's topped with a Zerotech LPVO, which I absolutely love. It's an amazing, amazing optic. It's very easy for me to use. It's very easy to see. It is second focal plane, so that makes it even better for quick target acquisition.
yeah,
Um, but you know, it's like that's the gun that I want to put all that good stuff into, right? So, like the light that's on it right now, it was sent to me. Now, is it sufficient for coming into a home or a house? Yeah. I mean, it does. It works. It comes on. The battery's never gone dead. You know, it's rechargeable. It's kind of cute. It's very small and compact and lightweight, which I really like, because I've got a 5.56 up there that weighs about 45 pounds. You know, that's no fun, man.
so I my issue isn't does the $40 light work right now? You know,
Right?
that's not my issue. That's not my issue at all. My issue is partially mindset and partially reputable companies with a track record of reliability. Like
Absolutely.
you take, I'm assuming people have taken classes at some point in time. So you take
Sure.
classes for your firearms, you go out and you practice, you spend a bunch of money, maybe not a whole bunch of money, but $500 is still a lot of money if you're buying a cheap AR. You know,
Yep.
you spend $500 on a gun, you spend another $200 on a red dot, and then you put some POS $50 light on it. When the most important thing you purchased there was probably the light.
Right. I agree. I agree.
Because if you can't see, what are you shooting at?
That's right. I
You
100%
know?
agree. Yeah.
And so
Yep.
it's like, why go through all of that? I call those people, I say that like, there was a guy, and I was a dick to him, I'll admit, like, there was a guy on Facebook that had like a decked out Glock with a Trijicon RMR on it, and some Amazon light that I'd never heard of, maybe Wish.com light.
Right.
And he says, "What do you guys think?" I said, "I think you're pretending to care about self-defense."
Right.
You know, because
Yep.
a light, right? A light, nothing can replace that. A rock can replace your gun if it needs to. A knife
Right.
can replace your gun if it needs to. Nothing can replace a light.
I
If
agree.
it's dark and you don't have light, nothing else works other than a light.
Or nods, but that's if you can
Well,
afford to buy those.
yeah, or
Right.
night vision, sure.
Let's not even talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, dude, if you're running nods, you're not running a shit light.
And so it's like,
Right.
yeah, you're not right. Yeah, if you're running nods, you're not running shit light. You're probably running a D-ball or something like that. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know if it's just a lack of, because most people that have a light on their gun have never taken a low light class.
Right.
The vast majority have never taken a low light class. I teach low light
Yep.
class all the time. But the ability to see only happens with light.
That's right.
And so why people put all this money into ammo, magazines, guns, and then puts the cheapest light possible on that firearm blows my mind.
Right. Right. And you know what? And this is why, honestly, this is why I love your channel. Because I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of it on a lot of my guns. I just am. And it's like sometimes we all need this reality check to say, "Hey, bro," right? Because here I was tonight, right? All these people are sending me these, and if you notice, like PSA, their ammo prices are starting to creep up. Fucking drives me nuts, dude. Because it's such bullshit. The only reason that there's an ammo shortage is because somebody said there was, and everybody panic bought, and now everybody's going out and they're going crazy. But I always like to buy good ammo, man. When I can come across 9mm, but I'm a gun tuber like you, so I shoot a lot more. It's not that I don't have my stash for oh shit, but I don't like to touch my oh shit ammo for going out and pulling the trigger on my fucking gun. So I try to buy the cheapest stuff that functions, that works. AAC is great. Blazer runs fine for me. So if I can find that stuff cheap enough, I'm going to buy some extra so that I can go out and do my videos. So, but here I was, and I'm sitting around and I'm going, man, so AIM Surplus sent me a link and they're like, man, we got Blazer 124 grain for 25 cents a round. And I'm like, well, that's 3 cents cheaper right now than, AAC at PSA. So I was like, all right, so I'm sitting there and man, I get my cart full and it's like, man, $400. Going, you know what I could buy with $400? And now you got me thinking, and I'm like, yeah, I know what I could buy with $400. A stream light for my main pistol and a stream light for my rifle.
And yeah, okay, so anybody out there that's like, this guy's a gun snob or a gear snob, I'm not. There's nothing wrong with budget.
No.
If you go to my channel, I have a ton of budget stuff on there.
Yep,
Right?
absolutely.
I just gave a Taurus G3C a glowing review. So that's like one of the most hated guns by gear gun snobs. So
Right.
I'm far from it. But I have been in far too many situations, far too many potentially disastrous reality checks, to say it nicely, that maybe my eyes were open a long time ago before other people. I don't know, but
Yep.
like I said, lights are not even optics. I mean, a cheap optic is more acceptable than a cheap light because
Right.
you still at least have the iron sights.
Yeah, and if you don't, and I'm here to tell you guys, I'd love to grab my gun right now, but YouTube will shut me down
Yeah, YouTube's
so
no.
fast it'll be bad. That's another reason I do like to do lives on Instagram because they don't care. But if you're not running iron sights on your rifle, along with an optic, you're wrong. And, like for me, I run a lot of LPVOs, right? But 45-degree iron sights are cheap. They are super cheap. They are, I mean, you can get some good Magpul metal. Go ahead.
Calling
Are you
me.
asking a question or are you saying you don't run them?
So I run a 2-inch riser on my main AR.
Yeah, so you can see through the bottom of it and pick up your
Iron
front
sights
sight.
do me no. Iron sights do me no good. They're too tall. The iron sights are too tall
Oh, right.
to use them, and the optics too tall to co-witness. I also have a set of offset 45-degree sights right up here on my shelf
Yep.
that I can't use because they can't off to the side, and that's where my light is.
Yep. I should know that because I know where you place your lights because you got me thinking about it. And then I was like, well, this is going to suck. So how am I going to run my iron sights? So I didn't run it. I run mine on the left.
Yeah.
I run mine on my left. But, and I want to say something because you really touched on something earlier, man, that really, it just got my back wheels running. And I've been thinking about it as we've been talking is while you can run a budget light on your rifle, right? And maybe the switch works all the time. And maybe the light works all the time. I've seriously never had a problem with my Fayachis or that cheap one that's on my 300 blackout or anything like that. But here's where the true test is. Have you ever slipped and fell and landed on your rifle because you're running for your life? Right? You want to make sure that if that light takes an impact, that it's going to turn back on. It's not, you're not standing there like, oh, fuck. Or how about running through the woods or getting your cable from if for some reason you don't wrap your cables tightly. Cable management's important, folks. And that cable gets grabbed by something and yanked out of the end of the flashlight or just creates a short
Right.
or whatever. Or it creates a short and your light comes on. Now you can't shut your light off. Then what? So it's a great point. That's a really, really, really valid point.
Yeah, it's just like I said, man. It's one of those things. Not being a gear snob, but arguably of the whole gun setup, optics, lights, slings, gun, ammo, magazine choices, all that shit means nothing if you can't see.
That I agree. I agree.
You
And
know,
and this was, man, hopefully everybody that watches this or is watching now takes this all to heart. I don't have a pistol in my home that does not have some sort of light on it. If you are going to grab a firearm in your home to defend your house, you better be sure of what the frick you're pulling the trigger at. It's not, oh, I saw a dark, shadowy figure that was your wife that you didn't hear walk outside the house and then she came back in, startled you, and you decided to pull the trigger on your wife or your kids or anybody else, your drunk neighbor, your mother in law. Well, I'm just saying, hypothetically. But I agree 100%, man. If you can't see, definitely don't pull the trigger.
but
So,
that's just my reasoning. Like, seeing is one of the arguably most important things, and you're gonna buy the cheapest light you could possibly get.
all right, I
That
get it,
that
man. I
doesn't
own them. I'm
equate.
sorry.
That doesn't equate for me. Now, as far as lights on pistols, there's two
Moose is gonna
pistols.
turn into a light snob coming up here, man.
There's
I'm gonna
there's
go out
two
and find them.
there's two pistols I have that don't have lights, but you also can't put lights on them.
Gotcha.
One's a 1947 Colt 1911,
That's beautiful.
and the other one is a almost 40-year-old Beretta 92.
That's
I mean,
right. That's where the whole light
yeah,
underneath on the cross wrist comes into play, which
yeah.
leads back to why everybody should carry an EDC.
But this
Yep.
isn't what.
Aha, suckers. Right.
But YouTube.
Right.
But I have this as obviously as a training pistol, But I put a light on it often. I have other light bearing holsters for people to train with, because this is what I give people when I teach them low light stuff.
Right.
I'll put a light on it and
Do you
have
make
them
them say pew pew?
huh?
Do you make them say pew pew?
As
Pew
often as
pew.
possible.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
as
If you
often
don't
as
say pew pew,
possible.
you didn't pull the trigger.
But this is when I talk about umbrella lighting, floor lighting, peripheral lighting, um, things like that. All the things that people think can't be done because if you have a light, you're pointing it at somebody, you can't, Um,
Right.
um, but yeah, so I give them a safe gun with a light so they can practice these things: umbrella lighting, floor lighting, peripheral lighting, things like that. And then we move to live fire stuff on targets.
Right.
Um, on on top of lights, lasers are for concerts, not for
Right.
they unless they're infrared.
Right. I
Unless
agree.
they're, unless they're
There's
infrared.
there is
Lasers are for light shows, not
yeah,
for
there is
fire.
one. I don't even know if I would call it a gun, but there's only one gun in my home that has a laser, and it's a taser.
Oh,
And it just comes with it. I mean, you flip the switch, beep, little light, wherever you point it, it's roughly that area. So that is literally the only. I mean, I have other lasers that have been sent to me and stuff, and it's like, oh yay! But dude, the last thing you want to do is be running around thinking that your laser is the end all sale. It's not. It's not. It's not as accurate as an optic. It's not as accurate as try finding a laser floating around in a 50-yard field and try to get it to hit somebody and you can still see it. It's impossible. It's silly. I mean, like you said, unless it's IR and you're wearing
yeah.
nods that can see it. I mean, there's just no point. I mean, there's none. I
Yeah,
mean, it's silly.
even at close distance. You hand somebody a gun with a laser on it, right?
Yep.
At 10 yards.
Yep.
They draw a present, they flip the laser on, and what are they doing? They're looking for the
They're
laser instead of
they're looking
shooting.
for the laser, right?
You
Yeah, they're
know?
not trying to figure out if that's a viable target or not.
No, they're looking for the laser instead of
That's
shooting.
right. They're like cats.
Yeah.
You know? Yep. I
I mean,
agree 100%. I couldn't agree more. And, I mean, are they cute? Yeah. But do they make you look like you know what you're doing? No, no, no. And it's just like even in the movies, like you see the Navy SEALs and you see their little red lights and stuff. And it's like, no, no, no.
no.
They're going to use IR stuff. And that's why they use those, so that they can be incognito. They know what their target is. You and I don't always necessarily know what our target is. And just because maybe there is a threat doesn't mean that there's not also an innocent person around that threat. So if,
Right.
just like you said, if you're looking for a laser, you're not looking at who you're shooting. You're looking for that laser to hit a body and then pull a trigger. And that's just very dangerous. I mean, very dangerous. You know, I don't know about you guys, but number one, I don't ever want to have to shoot somebody. I don't really ever want to have to be engaged. Am I prepared to, or would I defend my family? Yes, but it's not like it's not on my bucket list of like, oh man, I wonder if I could ever do that. No, it's the last thing I ever want to have to do. I see the results of what happens when you do that. I whacked my cat once who was dying, and it was traumatic. It was seriously traumatic, right? I had a cat that was suffering. It was dying. It was the weekend. The emergency vet clinic wanted like $800 to, you know, dispatch my cat, and I was just like, no, like I'm not gonna go spend $800. I'll do it myself, and
I
and
like
that was traumatic.
I like how you've used every word that nobody ever uses for putting their animal down, which is the normal vernacular. You're saying whacked, dispatched, like.
I've got a whole lot of words floating around in my head, and it just randomly grabs one, boop, spits it out. Yeah, you
So
got
here,
to be careful with me at the bar, dude. If we start drinking at Shot Show, just be prepared, man. You never know what's going to come out of this mouth.
mm-hmm.
It's a good time, though. It is a good time. I'm a very happy, friendly, drunk, but it's a good time. You'll see. You'll see. I found a room at the Flamingo, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and I know Chris is going to be right behind us in a condo, apparently.
Yeah, he's getting what are they called? Not a bed and breakfast. The hell do they call those?
I know what you're saying. Like where you go rent somebody's house or whatever.
Yeah,
Is he staying there with some other people?
his old lady. Other than that, I don't know.
See, that's what I was trying to say to you earlier. Is like, why didn't all three of us, or four of us, or five of us, maybe six? Because I think Dave's coming with me. Why didn't we all just go rent an Airbnb?
I didn't
It
know you
probably
were
would have been
going. And
cheaper than
I didn't even
everybody
know you were
paying some.
going until I already had the Flamingo rented, and you said something along on that post like I should be getting mine done like soon or something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were
Well,
going to Shot Show until then.
next year we need to get a group of guys together and just go rent like a big ass house. Go find a 5-6 bedroom house, and it's probably gonna cost $5,000. But if you put 10 people in it, I mean, at least then we have like our own house.
Yeah.
Or actually, maybe next year we can get somebody to shack us up. See, in the
Well,
airgun community, man, you can find sponsors like that. And with the sponsors that we have, we should be able to go out and find a sponsor that says, yeah, man, come out at Shot Show. We'll put you up.
I I was looking for somebody to sponsor my trip, my Shot Show trip. The problem is that most of the companies I work with aren't Shot Show type companies.
Right.
Like AR-15 discounts and they're retailers. They're not
Yeah. They're not
manufacturers.
manufacturers.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah, I
so
focus more on the manufacturers than I do the retailers. Retailers are hard, man. They really are. It's not that I don't work with some retailers, but it's tough to get a lot of product from a retailer as opposed to reaching out to a manufacturer and saying, hey, I want to run this, and they go, yeah, okay, sure. Like working with PSA. If I want something PSA, it's not that big of a deal to reach out and say, hey, can I try one of those? And they say, yeah, sure. As opposed to if I call them up and I go, hey, I noticed that you guys have the echelons in stock. You want to send me an echelon? And they're like, no, no, And so I just found throughout, especially doing the airgun stuff, it's better a lot of times just go straight to the manufacturers. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I called my guy over at AR-500, and he said they're not even going to Shot Show this year.
Right.
But and then there's a couple other manufacturers I work with, but they don't need to. They don't need to give me money. Is what it amounts to.
Right.
And yeah, so actually, what I did was I just got 100 stickers in. I'm going to start selling stickers on Instagram here pretty soon, and on Facebook.
Yeah, I noticed that your YouTube channel has the shop bar in it now.
Yeah.
I haven't updated mine to do that yet, but I'm working on it because I'm going to be coming out with a line of clothing shirts. Like I'm going to come out with my own shirts. So, we've had the conversation about that, and I agree. But the unfortunate part is I've got a fuckload of these shirts. Like
I
a
did
mess.
too. I threw them away.
A metric fuckload. Well, for the time being, I don't have anything really to
Look
replace.
into if you want, look into Till Valhalla project.
Oh yeah, I've seen those guys. Yeah. Yeah, I want to do some stuff too. I'm trying to work with some companies right now to get some um, veterans, wounded veterans that are coming home, especially to my local area, to get them set up with weaponry and stuff like that as well. So we're gonna see. Oh,
Sorry, I something popped up on my computer and I had to move the phone to.
I was gonna say you must have been reading something. So
Yeah.
of course, Charles, I'll absolutely make sure that you get your shirt in. So it's ironic because I was showing everybody earlier, my T-shirt guy here in town. Um, he just got a laser in, and maybe you guys have seen some of the stuff that he lasered. But I had this old 19 slide laying around, so he laser engraved We the People on one side and my logo and my name on the other side. So he was just showing what it can do. And I thought, man, that's pretty cool, man, that he can do that. But he does all my shirts, he does my business cards, and he's got really good prices on shirts. But how I'm going to be releasing my shirts is we're going to do pre-orders, so that way I'm not buying, you know, 10 schmediums that who wears a freaking schmedium shirt, dude?
Why
You
would you
know,
why would you want to buy any of them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're going to do pre-orders. So you'll basically pre-order them. We'll run them for X amount of time. When everything's said and done, then he'll print the shirts and I mail them out. So I'll get a couple for me to wear that you guys will be able to see what they look like. And then he'll print them on whether you want it on a hoodie or long sleeve or short sleeve, whatever color shirt you want, whatever size you want. And then once the order's complete, then I'll pay him his money and we'll ship all the shirts out. As opposed to just ordering, once again, because I used to do that when I did my air gun shirts, and a lot of these guys have bought those air gun shirts over time. Um, I used to make my own shirts, but I'd go out and I'd buy, you know, five extra large, five, large, five 2X, five 3X, five 4X. And then a lot of times I just get stuck with extra shirts that nobody bought. So it's easier just to say, hey, this is what the print's going to look like. Here it is. It's going to have my logo on the back. It'll have a saying up on the front, have a flag on the sleeve, maybe something else on the other sleeve. And they're X dollars. And the best part is he's actually really, really cheap as opposed to going anywhere else. I can go into his shop and pick up some of the ones that he's already pre-printed. Like I've got a couple, like one says like free men, shouldn't ask permission to own firearms, stuff like that. Um, and it was like $12.99 for a 4X shirt. So, I mean, great price. He just
Yeah.
prints them up in batches, and so I'll be able to get you guys some better prices, and hopefully they won't be like $25, a shirt. Yeah, I don't want to sell $25 shirts.
I think that's what mine are, 20 some odd dollars right now. I just go through Spreadshirt or Teespring.
Yeah.
That
So
just make
basically, he's the exact same thing
yeah.
as like going through Teespring, except he's a local guy to me, and we're
Yeah.
actually really good friends. So, any of my um, screens that get printed, I can, he keeps them right, so they're easy to remake. He just rescreens them and makes a couple extra shirts, whatever. So
Yeah.
works out pretty good. Works out pretty good. Yep. So, what do you guys want to see more of on my channel? And this is actually a question to you because I think you've seen a few of my videos, but
Sure.
what would you guys all like to see more on my channel? Like for example, I've got some more shotguns coming in, but Are you guys interested in the shotgun stuff? Are you guys interested in reloading stuff? You know, I always love to ask people, and even if you're not watching this live, drop a comment in the, or drop a comment in the comment section and let me know. I mean, it's hard to guess what you guys actually want to see. So if I see, a bunch of people saying, hey, man, I'd like to see more of the builds or, more of that stuff, then that's what we'll focus on. So I like to kind of mix it up, but at the same time, I'm really into my rimfires right now. As some of you guys know, I picked up that Bacara B14R, and man, it is just so much fun to shoot. Oh my gosh, it is just phenomenal. Um, Keep mixing up the firearms with the air guns. Get some hunting videos and set up for that too. Yeah, so I am going to be doing some videos on hunting. For those of you guys that follow me, you know that my ATN took a dump. I sent it back to ATN. Um, I'm hoping that they send me the new ATN X-Lite 5K, but I don't know yet. I did put a nice little note in there and said, if you guys don't mind, since you sent me this one for free, what can you just upgrade it and send me the new one for free? But we'll see. Um, I do have a good friend of mine that when I lived downstate, we shot a lot of NRL together. Um, he moved up to northern Michigan now, and we are going to start doing some long range shooting. So we're going to be taking the 308s, my 243. I think I'm going to be building a 6 dasher, and we are going to start shooting those extreme long distance targets, which is what I absolutely love to do. So we're talking 600 plus yards, over 1,000 for sure. Um, but we'll be bringing you guys that stuff as well. So that'll be really a lot of fun, and we're going to start doing that probably in the spring. I get the GoPro 9 updated so I can use it. I'll figure it out soon, hopefully. Right? Got my GoPro sitting around here somewhere. My 9. Actually, I got 2 9s sitting over there on the table. I don't use them as much as I used to. Um, I use the DSLRs more than anything else. But there are good times to use GoPros. GoPros require a ridiculous amount of lighting um, to be good quality, especially if you're recording in 4K or even in full HD. It requires an absorbent amount of light. So they work great if you're outside, it's sunny, and they can use their big aperture to gather a lot of light. So that's where the DSLRs come in. Ammo reviews. Yeah, all right, I like that. It won't turn back on when I pause it or turn it off. What happens if you pull the battery out? You pull it out, put it back in, will it turn back on? That's
I
that's
have
a
a Hero.
common. What's that?
I have a Hero 11 black, and I love using it. I just hate what I have to do afterwards because when I load those videos into my video editing program,
Yep.
it it's horrible. Like it takes forever to do anything with those video clips versus out of my camera, my regular camera.
Yeah. See, I don't run into that problem. I run into the post editing when I need the light to brighten up. Right. Like if I need to bring more brightness to it, it just takes a long time to fine tune it all. But I just pull the SD cards out, and then I do all my video editing on my tablet. So this is Samsung. I don't know. It's the Galaxy 9 Plus. So it's the latest and greatest Samsung. Um, and then I have a USB hub that I plug into it, and all of my cameras and my GoPros all take SD cards. I just pull them out, put them into this little USB thing, and they fly over. So I don't run into that. The only reason that maybe you're running into that is because of the file format, or if you're recording in 4K. So I don't run in 4K, even though all of my equipment is capable of it. If I'm just using one camera, like my GoPro, sometimes I'll run that in 4K. But a lot of the reason that I don't is because if you ask the majority of people what they view YouTube on, it's their phone or their tablet, and those aren't capable of viewing full 4K. At
Yeah,
least,
that's why I don't record in 4K. Like my camera can do 4K, my
yep,
GoPro can do 4K, but I do both of those in 1080.
yep, exactly. I run 1080, 30 frames. That's it, straight across the board. And if you're going to use multiple cameras, and this just goes out to the general public that's maybe watching this, like Charles, I know you have a YouTube channel as well. If you're going to run multiple cameras to get like B-roll footage, or you've got one down at your target and you got one on you, make sure that they are all running the same frame rate. Because when you edit those together, if your target camera is running, let's say 60 frames, and your camera that's on you is running 30 frames, even if they're both at 1080, it's going to create a weird oddity in your post editing. And it's not going to look as clear and as smooth as if they're all running the exact same thing. So 30 frames per second, unless I'm doing something super slow mo, like I want that, really, like Kentucky Ballistics, blowing stuff up. And even then, 30 frames is usually more than enough. You'd be really surprised at how slow you can get video at 30 frames a second. That's slow. That's really slow. So little tidbits. So, but yeah, I run everything at 1080, 30 frames. So unless I'm, like I said, unless I'm on vacation and I take my GoPros, because I love my GoPros in 4K. Like if I go up to Mackinac, or we go up to the UP and we're walking around these beautiful wooded areas, the 4K really pans out well, gets a lot of light being outside, and it just looks brilliant. It really does. Of course, you got to watch it on your TV to see it in 4K, but still looks good. But anyway, so well, I hope that hopefully you guys learned anything. You got anything else you want to talk about tonight? Anybody got any
No,
questions for Silverback?
not particularly.
Anybody? I'm hoping that everybody that's watching this checks out Silverback's channel, RTT Guns and Gear. It is, I'm telling you, it is a phenomenal channel. He comes out with good videos. I've never, and this is the honest truth. And I'm not sucking up to him or anything like that, but I have never turned off one of his videos. They're very informative. He's very good. He doesn't ramble. He talks about what he's there to talk about. You might not click on one, but if you do, you'll sit through the whole thing. It's
I turn off
entertaining.
my own videos.
Well, I turn off mine too, but I do watch my own videos on my other channels so that I get the watch time.
I'll edit my video, render it, and upload it and whatnot, right? And then I'll always watch it on my phone right after that, and then I'll turn my TV on and watch it on my TV.
Oh, absolutely.
If I'm not happy how it turns out on the TV, I can sort of live with that. If I'm not happy with how it turned out on the phone, it gets redone.
Yep. Nope, I
Yeah.
agree. And not only that, but let me tell you, and I'll tell you how I know this, because from experience. So I shot a video sometime last year, and I did one take. I already subbed and watched his CZ Scorpion. Yeah, right. That's the best one ever. Fucking with the 75-pound trigger, and your dad hopping out of the shower. Yeah, it's awesome video, man. As a matter of fact, I texted Matt. It was It was 6:30 in the morning your time, and I was watching it. I do this every morning, man. It's my go-to. I wake up every morning. I go to the gas station. I get my coffee. I get my wife a fountain pop. I come home. RTT Guns and Gear, and then I sit down and I turn on YouTube and I watch everything from the previous night up until where I'm at. And this morning I'm watching it and I am rolling on the floor laughing my ass off. It is hilarious. And so I'm like, dude, dude, you're killing me, man. This is awesome. So then we ended up having a half-hour conversation on the phone about it. But yeah, it's just really entertaining. But where was I going with that? I was saying something before I said that. So now I forgot. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, now you're thinking about 74-pound triggers.
Oh yeah, dude, the 74-pound trigger, man, that was the best ever. Yep. It's a great gun. There's just only a couple things I don't like. Like the 74-pound trigger. you know, or the way the pistol brace flops around like your dad hopping out of the shower. I was like, ah, oh man, yep, good times for sure. So we'll bring Silver back on again. Maybe I'll even be invited over to his channel sometime. But definitely appreciate it. This is the kind of content that I want to bring you guys. I want to bring you guys stuff that gets you to think the same way that I think when I watch people like Silverback's videos, right? Just like lights, right? I can guarantee that everybody that watches this video just got a whole new idea of you're right. An optic, it is important, but it's nothing if you can't see what you're shooting at, right? It's nothing. So, daytime's great, but shit doesn't hit the fan on our schedule, right? That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Bad things don't happen on our schedule. If I could schedule everything bad to happen on my schedule, it'd be around 1 o'clock in the afternoon after I've already had my morning coffee, taken my shit, got in the shower, the whole 9 yards, watched a few YouTube videos, gotten up, loosened up all the joints, and now I'm ready to go. But chances are it'll never be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm prepared. So, making those thoughts, getting a decent weapon light on your gun. Just like Matt was saying, these are like $100, right? This is what they go for on the website. Well, you can buy a Streamlight even at a retailer for about $130. So you can buy them on Amazon. The what is it? The T1 or the T?
TLR1, TLR7, they're both
Yeah,
roughly the
yeah. The
same price.
TRL1 is what I would generally run, just because of I run a lot of Glocks. Most of them are capable of that, but for $30 more, you can have that Streamlight. And it's not that Phoenix is a
No,
bad company. It's not.
no.
This thing works great. I mean, it's got multiple different. It's got a turbo mode, a light mode, and then you could do a strobe, which I know that you made a comment about strobes, and I'll try to end this video on this note. But you made a comment about strobes, and you said, strobes are silly, or something along those lines. At
They,
least,
they're
unless I
for dance
misunderstood.
parties.
Right, but I would say that on my pistols, I like the idea of a strobe to be able to disorient people. If I'm in my house, I'm grabbing my pistol, right? I mean, I run frangible ammo in my home protection gun, right? It's not going to make it through, 3 sheets of drywall. It's going to break up, right? So I don't have to run the risk of shooting, missing, potentially hitting a wall and having it travel across the street and whack my neighbor. It's going to break up before that. It's at least going to start tumbling because it's fragmented a little bit. Um, so for me, having that ability to disorient people, not me, but them, um, does have its pros. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on Surefire. Great, absolutely, 100%. And I'm sure Silverback would agree. If you can buy a Surefire, 100%, bro. You'll never be upset about that. But I'd love to hear your take on why maybe you don't agree with that statement.
Okay. Strobes definitely disorient people. That's a fact. The problem is that you can't control how it may or may not disorient you. Because a flashing light is a flashing light, no matter which way you have it pointed.
Yeah.
And so, especially in close quarters, right? Especially in close quarters where you're getting a bunch of light back at you, you run a risk, maybe not as much of a risk, right? But you also have lights on and everything else. Now, go completely black.
Yeah.
And then flip that on and tell me that it's not disorienting.
Oh, I mean, there's no doubt that it definitely causes your eyes to not be able to focus as well as if I just turn on the light. I would
So,
agree. I don't disagree with that.
So there's number one. It disorients you as much, maybe not as much, but enough that you have a hard time focusing. And
Unless I'm running a laser.
That's pretty universal.
Right.
Like you can't control how your eyes react to something.
No, you cannot. They will react faster than you can even think.
Yeah. A wall of light, which I know this little guy isn't as much of a wall as others, but a wall of light is equally as disorienting.
Yeah, I would agree.
So there's 2. 3, depending on the frequency of your strobe, what you've done is created a stop motion film in your brain to where now you have to concentrate extra hard on what the person's doing.
All right. I could buy that. You're absolutely right. Yep. I never thought about the stop motion, and that's exactly right. How many times have you been in an area, whether it's at somebody's party or whatever, and you find yourself doing the robot because it looks cool, and it does look cool, or somebody else does it, and you go, "Dude, that's badass," and that's exactly it. If somebody's moving, they now look like they're doing the robot along the way, and you're right. Yep. I mean,
So
I wouldn't say that you would kick it out of bed for eating crackers, but I can see your point in what you're saying.
yeah, so that's one of my favorite things about Streamlight is being able to program out strobe. And whenever I review a light, the easier the strobe is to get to, the worse the review is for that company.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing I did like about this light is I actually had to read the instructions on how to turn it on. Right?
Yes.
Like I was like, what am I missing here? I'm hitting both buttons. Nope. I'm hitting it again. Nope. I'm double, triple tapping. Nope. It's got to be on, and then you have to hold it down, and as soon as you let off, it stops strobing. So I would say that while I agree with everything that you said, and thank you for that explanation, this is probably the best light that I own at this point that does strobe, because if I have the light on and I just, wanted to disorient somebody, I could push this down, strobe it, and then let off. And I'm back to just seeing what a normal light looks like.
Yeah.
So I
As
think
long as
that's kind of,
strobe is, as long as to get to strobe, it's intentional and not accidental, whatever,
right.
But there's some lights out there that you either have to cycle through
Yeah.
low, high strobe, low, high strobe, low, high strobe, or it's a double tap
Yep.
to get to strobe.
Yep.
And under recoil, you're constantly accidentally turning
Yep.
strobe on. And the
Yep.
last thing you want to do is turn strobe on by accident.
Yep. Yeah,
Because
I've actually got a rifle light that has a pad. It's a really good pad. It's an M-LOK pad that latches right onto my rifle. It's very solid, but it's got three switches. It's got on and off is one switch. It's got instant on and off with another. So if I press it, it comes on. If I let off, it goes off. And then the other one is strobe. Well, you're absolutely right. If you
are
grab
they,
that rifle and now you've got that rifle up and you reach up and you think you're hitting instant on and you just start strobing stuff, well, you're watching robots again, and that could cost you your life. I mean, it really
yes.
could.
Yeah. So it's one of those, to me, it's hard to see the small movements between frames. I wouldn't want to miss the
Yeah,
Ryan W. You know,
yeah,
that's the exact point I was making, is that when you see stop, 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 you know, you got to be looking for hands anyway.
right. That's
You're looking
right.
at chest, you're looking at chest and hands.
Yep.
And when your hands are, you're not looking at hands anymore. You're looking at a
Right.
stop motion film.
Can
Um,
you do that again? I want to screen record that so I can use it for a short.
um, um, but and this isn't me admonishing people that like strobe, right? Do your thing.
Yeah. I agree.
Um, but and again, like with that GL19, if you have to intentionally seek out strobe, I'm way cooler with that light having strobe than accidental strobe
Yep.
discharge.
Yeah, you
Um,
won't accidentally strobe that thing.
yeah.
No.
But yeah, and this is what I mean by low light classes. People that carry lights should take at least one good low light class, because a lot of this stuff is gone through. A
Yeah.
lot of the misnomers about lights are gone through, like the whole you're giving the bad guy something to aim at. On a high candela, high output light, the bad guy doesn't see a circle.
Yeah.
It's a wall of freaking light, you
Yeah.
know? And sure, over a period of time, maybe his vision could start focusing down in on the source. But if you
Yeah.
haven't shot him by then you probably have everything coming to you that you're getting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well,
uh,
on that note, um, I have a good friend of mine that lives out in Arizona, that owns a large martial arts company. He sells martial arts stuff, airgun stuff, and replica stuff. He sells like replica swords and all this stuff. Anyway, it's a huge company. You've probably even heard of the majority of them. But I'd love to talk with him um, soon and maybe schedule a trip to come out that way. And if you and I can talk off camera, um, I'd love to be able to come out and do some kind of training with you. Just like your low light or or whatever. I think that'd be just awesome to do. Um, Especially where you get to shoot. You do it's amazing to me. Like I wish that I had that kind of area to be able to go out and do whatever I want to do.
you know,
So
I can
but
even
I
take
I
you one of
love
the
it.
old abandoned ranches and do CQB stuff. Um,
Oh
there's
yeah.
there's an old abandoned ranch that used to be run by the cartels, um, out in the middle of the desert, and I take people out there and to do CQB, and we'll do it
Oh, that'd be
day
awesome.
and night.
Yeah, that'd be wicked cool to do. And I know that this guy that's my friend out there, he'd probably be really interested in doing that as well. As a matter of fact, he's sending me some really great replica guns. Um, he called me up the other day and we were talking, and he said, I said to him, I said, hey man, you got something else you want, done or whatever, and he sent me all kinds of stuff in the past, different air guns and Byrna stuff and things like that. And he said, man, he goes, you ever done anything with replica guns? And I'm like, replicas? The hell do I want a replica for? But I was like, then I started getting intrigued. And so they make like old West replica guns, like, lever action, 45s and stuff. And, they've got bullets that go into them, and you can put percussion caps on them so they actually make noise and all that kind of cool stuff. And yeah, hey, take care, Big Al. Big Al, what's up with your wife, man? You know what I'm talking about. Message me. Let me know. Let me know if I'm in or if I'm out, or if I can come like the next day or that weekend or something like that. Um, Big Al is a good friend of mine, lives downstate, and he's got some of the best hunting property in the state. And so,
Understand what I just heard though. Yo, dude, what's up with your wife? Let me know if I'm in or out.
right. Yeah, no, he knows exactly what. No, what it is I was hoping to go down there for opening day, and his wife said that she wanted to go out and hunt opening day with him. So he's like, well, I mean, and I was like, dude, look, I get it, man. If it's your old lady, dude, like, who am I, So he's like, well, I don't know if she's got the time off yet to do it, and he's like, but I'll let you know. So that's kind of the backstory, but.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I agree that was quite funny and a little inappropriate. Yeah, but he's laughing, and that's a good thing. Um, so, but yeah, so I've got these replicas coming, including a like a 1864 wheel gun. They're exact replicas. Like they use them in movies for props, and not the one that Stephen Baldwin was in, or Alec Baldwin, or whoever shot that dude. Um, yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. And these are like super super high end. So he's sending me a holster for the sidearm and all that. So I figured kind of just something neat, just to kind of use as cool stuff. I mean, who doesn't want anything to do with guns? I don't get it. Like, there's got to be something mentally wrong with you if you're not into firearms of some sort.
They can't figure out what gender they are.
That's true. That's true. Or they're not happy with the one that they were born with. Yeah. Yeah. That's fact. It's fact. But all right. Well, listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on with us here. And once again, guys, go check out Silverback RTT Guns and Gear. Definitely give them a subscribe. You won't regret it. Even if you're just into the air gun stuff, you can still appreciate the stuff that Silverback brings to the table. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and cut this off, and I'll reach out to you, man. We'll talk soon enough, and we'll figure out a time that we can come out. It'll probably be after SHOT Show, but I'll come out there, and maybe it should be over the winter when it's cooler out there.
For you living
Yeah,
up north like that,
yeah,
if you come here if you come here in the summer when it's 120 degrees,
yeah, I'm gonna pass out.
yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's not even like me joking. Like,
Yeah, no, listen, I went to high school in Texas, man. That was bad
yeah,
enough. I lived in Florida, I've lived in Louisiana, and it always sucked balls. All I ever tried to do was get back to my car with the air conditioner or back to the house with the air conditioning. For me, I don't even like leaving my house here in Michigan when it hits 85. Like it's too hot. I just don't enjoy it. So, but anyway,
when you do come down, I'll take you down to the border and show you some of the drug running routes.
hell, fuck yeah. Can we take guns with us?
Always.
Work as border patrol down there.
That was one of the gunfights I got into.
Right? Awesome. All right, man. Well, listen, thanks again for joining me. I appreciate it. And thanks to all you guys for joining us tonight. And we'll catch you guys next time, man. Until next time, be good to each other. God bless. And God bless America. And we'll talk to you guys all soon. See ya.